Brothers and sisters, welcome back to my channel. Today I will take you to a tour of my brain. You heard it right. Today is gonna be an episode of Inside the Mind of N3sh. We're approaching the dead period of Yu-Gi-Oh! The period in which all Yu-Gi-Oh! Events end and the content starts to distill. So I took this as a bait to grind on Dueling Book, and I decided to get first. And I wanted to show you a showcase of my gameplay ability and analyze all the possible errors and game readings with you. So, without further ado, let's move to the decklist. So, this is the decklist, and yes, I'm actually in love with this decklist because I think I accomplished the goal of Branded. Play without relying on a fusion strategy. I call this deck Brandedless or Bless, and the goal of this deck is basically to not utilize Branded Fusion when you go first, but use the card as a board breaker going second, or if your opponent interacts with you very early during your first plays, then use it. So basically, in this deck list, you will not see an high amount of spells, but more about monsters in order to play also around floodgates, like for example Gods and Match, Rivalry, Skill Drain, and stuff like that. And also Eradicator, Virus, and cards like Anti-Spell. So I try to minimize the number of spells in the deck in order to not suffer from the same choke points of a normal branded deck list. The deck list is standard so far right now, like for what I showed you previously. It's 3 Quem, 3 Cartesia, 3 Fallen of Albats, 1 Bestial Aluber. Bestial Aluber is basically the core of the deck, because this card is considered Fallen of Albats while it's on the board and while it's in the graveyard, and you can add it with Bestial Lubellion. You can also reborn it with Regained. You can send it off Saronir. The fact that you can send this card off Saronir is super important, because when you open combinations with Cartesia, for example, you can special summon it from the end after resolving the Saronir. So now Cartesia is being bridged by the Bestial package, which is, in my opinion, the solution of this deck, basically. Maximum amount of Bestials, Druids, Boldrake, Branded Red, 1 white comes up a lot in my opinion, and also you can send it off the Shrouded Dragon while it's in the graveyard, and Shrouded Dragon is considered Fallen of Albats, so you can send the Branded in white, and then you can set itself by his own effect, because it says, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent to activate the effect of Fallen of Albats this turn, you can set this card, and Shrouded Dragon is considered Fallen of Albats in the graveyard. So it's super good in my opinion. Like, actually comes up a lot in the grind matchups and games as well. A big follow-up, by the way. Regained, obviously, Foolish Burial, Sarcophagus, Mercurial Tragedy to max out the consistency. Branded Beast, the MVP of the deck. 3 Branded Fusion. I basically don't see this card as Branded Fusion. I do see this card as a board breaker that I use mostly going second, or I use it on turn 3 after I do my synchro plays on turn 0. Retribution for recovery, and then N3sh package, 3 Nibiru, 3 Ash, 3 Impermanence. Very standard. I wanted to have a standard lineup for this grind on EB. I wanted to have a very standard package of N3sh. Extra deck, 2 Albion, 1 Mirror Jade, 1 Lubellion, 1 Titaniclad, 1 Rimbroom, 1 Borreload, 1 Albion, 1 Gran Guignol, 1 Predaplant Dragostapelia doesn't really came up, but it's probably, like, you can also carry it for Autumn. I think Autumn came up more than Dragostapelia, but there are some situations in which you have Quem, Mirror Jade, another Bestial, and Cartesia on the board, and you can use Cartesia and to fusion with the Bestial and Mirror Jade to make Stapelia, so you can use Quem to reborn Mirror Jade. Those are like very niche scenarios that like very rarely came up, but you know, you can try Autumn. In my opinion, like, it's worth it. 1 Hieratic Seal. I think this card is broken. Super good. Like, nothing to complain about this card. Like, it's like ending on this card is just feels just too good, to be honest. I rather prefer ending on this than resolving a branded fusion, to be honest. One Striker Dragon, people asked me why there is a Striker Dragon in the deck. Now, Striker Dragon is for when you open Fallen of Albaz plus any bestial, so you can normal summon Fallen of Albaz, turn it into Striker Dragon, and then you can banish it from the graveyard for the bestial, and then you can turn those two into Hieratic Seal, or when you open double bestial, including Lubellion. So you can discard Lubellion, you can add the bestial Aluber, you can normal summon the bestial Aluber, and you can turn it into Striker Dragon, and then you can banish it from the graveyard with the second bestial, tribute the bestial on the board for Lubellion, use Lubellion to put Regained or a branded beast depending on your end, and then you can turn those two monsters into seal. So it's actually good in a lot of ends, and that's why I decided to play it. In my opinion, it's super necessary. And then we got Baron, Dispater, and Lulu Walidit. I think Lulu Walidit comes up, and I think it's very good in my opinion. Deck. For the side deck, this deck suffers a lot the kashtira matchup. So now, like you guys would think, N3sh, but why would you play this deck in a kashtira format if it suffers it? Well, not every deck is kashtira, and I basically decided to focus my entire side patterns for kashtira. And I think like it's not even horrible the matchup, and like this deck has a very big edge against any other deck except for kashtira. 3 Dark Ruler no more, 1 Herald of the Abyss just for purely. It's not even bad against kashtira, to be honest. 1 Daruma Cannon, 3 Trust, 1 Feather Duster, 3 Bell, 3 Droll. It's mixed in between N3sh and Board Breakers. I do think that the only good card against Kash is Dark Ruler and Trust, and that's why I wanted to maximize on those. But also, if I play Trust, I wanted to set something as a Daruma Cannon for when I go first and I get shifted, and that's why I ended up with that. Well, that's it about the deck list. Let's move on to the gameplay. So, for the purpose of this video, cause I want to walk you through my mind process, I will not show both the ends. So, let's start. It's my opponent turn. So, it starts with Live Twin Kisila Kill. The first thing I think is maybe a runic version with Live Twin. And I have Double Bestial. It's super broken against this version of the deck. A correct play could also be like try to Ash this, so if he goes into a runic special summon the Yugin, then he goes into Gigantic, and he will not special summon the other Live Twin, he will probably special summon Blue, Jet, add Smasher, and then on IP. So that would be a possibility. There is also another possibility in which don't touch him at all, because I have Double Bestial in my hand, and I know that Double Bestial answer those kind of decks. So it's like it's gonna be super neg no matter what for him. And I feel like using the Ash right now, since I have 2 Bestials, feels like a neg. So it starts with the Kisila Kill, goes into Lela. Also, if he was opening with blue, that would have been super tough for me, because then I Ash, he blue, Jet, add starter, and then he goes into Gigantic and he still gets the other piece. So it's like, I don't want this Ash to stop the normal summon in this specific scenario, because I have Double Bestial. I would probably use the Ash if my hand was horrible and I was down bad, but in this scenario I feel like it's super okay. Special summon Carrot, special summon Red, that was crazy. This is sus. So now, a special summon Gigantic here. This is definitely sus. It's something that I would not expect from a Live Twin decklist. It's like, why are you trading your Live Twin for a Gigantic if you're not gonna get anymore the Link Evil Twin? So use Gigantic here, uses Gigantic, and here I Ash, because now Ash has an additional value. Now this Ash is gonna bait the Carrot. In order to negate the Ash, he has to red tribute Carrot. Because if he tributes Gigantic, then Gigantic fizzles, and like the effect does not resolve anymore. So, as planned, he uses Sprite Red to tribute Carrot, and then he special summons Blue. I do think, like, this is super sus. I'm just watching at this point. He adds Double Cross, and I'm like, okay, after he added Double Cross, I thought he's probably playing pure Sprite, but instead of Deep Sea Diva, he's playing the Life Twin. This is literally what I thought when I saw Double Cross. At this point, there are still the possibility, there are still two possibilities. The fact that he's still playing Ronix. The second one is, instead of Deep Sea Diva, he's playing the Live Twin. Utilize better the extra deck. So, and I don't even think it's horrible, to be honest with you guys. Use bot to go into sprint. I'm like, okay, at this point, yeah, like the read was correct, basically. Goes double beaver. Use those two to go into Melfi of the Forest. I'm like, okay. Adds Ketty. Set possibly, like, you know, the double cross unknown. And N3sh special summon Ketty. So right now I only know double cross. My opponent also set Cosmic and Impermanence. I can possibly read the Impermanence. I will not be able to read the Cosmic. So my turn, I go normal summon Quem. I start with the Quem because if I commit any Bestial, it's not gonna do anything. First of all, if I do Magramut, it's gonna negate and pop. Second of all, if I do Saronir, it will just bounce it back. So it's like, he has an answer to every of my play, and I'm like, I'm still gonna play it out because I'm very high ranked and people just know what I play. Like, I'm like 1661 during this game. I was during this game 1661, and like, people just know what you play at this point. Like, I just play it out. In a real tournament, I would probably just go normal Quem effect. He goes Ketty. Adds Pinny. Send Mercurier. Uses Melfi of the Forest in order to block Quem from being able to attack, and also negates the effect. So I cannot use this to reborn anymore. I go Saronir, target Mercurier. He goes red. I use Saronir effect in the graveyard. He chains Pinny. That was actually decent. I chain Magramut on Pinny. Target Mercurier. He chains Double Cross in order to summon the Mercurier on his board. And now it's like, I got pinned here. Like, I can, like, I got pinned, by the way. Yeah. Like, I don't have any more plays. Send Retribution, use Foolish, banish Tragedy. Tragedy add Quem, scoop. Okay, for the next game. Okay, first of all, now I know that I'm playing against Spright. So against Spright, and it, like, I also think at this point it's not runic. It's like super weird to play double cross, and he was also playing the Beaver engine. It's like, in my opinion, there is no space for 17 runic or 15 runic at this point. If you want also to manage the flex spots, it's like, if you are playing runics, you are not playing flex spot at all. So, so I decided to play this really safe. As you can see here, I have combo. I have Foolish, Saronir. So when I open those kind of combinations, I do not go for Brand Fusion. So Foolish Burial is gonna send Mercurier. Then I use Saronir, banish the Mercurier. Mercurier effect, add Blazing Cartesia. Normal summon Fallen of Albads. Special summon Cartesia. And then I use Cartesia effect. Those two will go into Albion. Albion effect will banish the Cartesia and the Tragedy in my hand in order to go into Grand Guignol. And Grand Guignol is gonna send the Lubellion in the graveyard. So I have an entire setup with Seal. Shelling 1, Shelling 2 with Tragedy that adds Quem for the next turn. Tribute the Saron in order to go into Lubellion. I do this line a lot, and also because I don't want to lose to Ash on Brand Fusion here. It's just way better into Entraps. Plays better into Impermanence, plays better into Ash. Like all the Wink Entraps are like -1 when I go for this place. Also because I still did not link, or I still did not synchro. So it's like, if he tries to stop me early, I still have Brand Fusion. I use those two to make Seal. And then I use Albion effect, set Brand in red. Here we set Brand in red because we can play around evenly. Add back Albats and use it with Quem, so we can play around evenly by Summon the Sanctifier. And also I will get regained back with the Beast. Okay. So main phase 1 is okay. He goes battle phase, obviously. So in battle phase, now we use the red. Target Falling of Albats, we fuse it with the Quem to make the Sanctifier. And then we go regained. I summon it in defense because there is no reason to summon it in attack, but you know. Draw, and then I will use Sanctifier, targeting the Albion and the Saronir. He goes Feather Duster, so yes, evenly Feather Duster. I don't think he tried to bait. Might be, actually. I mean, I don't have the feeling that he tried to bait, but, you know, because usually with Spright, you don't really want to play main phase 2, so there is no reason for me to think that he tried to bait. I do think that he has 100% MLE in his hand. Spright really cannot play in main phase 2, like they have to actually push in main phase 1, and if you do a play like fake the battle phase for a possible, like, to bait an interruption for evenly, in my opinion, that like reading your opponent not having the evenly, especially if they are playing Spright, it's actually impossible, because I would never read the evenly. So go Feather Duster, Dark Ruler too, like fine, bro. Normal summon Beaver. On Beaver I think or res, but he special summons blue. I'm like, nah bro, I'm thinking, chill out. We go Seal. Seal effect, he ashes. So remember, Seal was under Dark Ruler, so I don't bounce. I use Seal effect to special and the ashes, and that was crazy. So yeah, Feather Duster, Dark Ruler, Ash. Then I goes blue. Blue adds Jet, and then I draw him. Uses bot to go into Gigantic. Gigantic effect special summons Carrot, and then special summon Jet to go into Onibimaru. That doesn't do a lot. Banish the Saronir, set 1, that's gonna be the evenly, and it is actually the evenly, so you open it. Evenly Feather Duster, Dark Ruler, Ash, Beaver Blue. That was an hell of an end. My turn. And you also had, as you guys can see, had the Ash. So I would have actually, like, been in a very bad spot if I was starting with Brand Fusion or was using Brand Fusion. So, main phase 1, we switch in attack and enter in battle phase. We know that the set is evenly. That's like, just bait the stuff, like bait the Carrot, bait the Gigantic, main phase 2, and now we play with Bravo. And the game from here is pretty much over. We send Albion the Shrouded Dragon because I wanted to send Retribution in order to get back Beast, just to have a better grind. Like, do I need a grind? No, I don't, but, you know. Go into Borrel, send Retribution, use Borrel, pop, use Retribution at back Beast. Could have been regained. But to be honest, I feel like I was not getting any value from regained instantly, at least. And I'm like, even if my opponent like tries to draw something that, and this is not evenly, and he baits my stuff and can play in a way, I still have beasts that will activate, will put on the board regained next turn. The plan B, basically. The plan B. That was crazy. The plan B. So, uses Cosmic, I chain Borrel. On the back row, he had all the Albion, and the game is over. So, normal summon Kissy Kill. Go Lila, special summon Blue. Blue effect, add Jets. Use bot to go into Gigantic, so he's playing around Ribeiro. Summon Sibley. Ibli and Blue to go into Sprint. Chilling 1, Chilling 2. Summon bot the Beaver, go into Forest, I guess. And then add the Cat. Special summons Jet. Add Double Cross. Set, special summon Catty Pass. Now, let's talk about it. So this is a very standard line for Sprite. There are two ways to play this out in order to have a safe Ibli lock. The first Ibli lock is by summoning double Gigantic. Basically using a Jet and Sprint to summon a second Gigantic in defense, so I cannot attempt to crush the Ibli. The second way is keep the Sprint on the board. You can use double cross on one of your sprites in the graveyard that might be Blue or Jet. Special summon it to the zone of Sprint, and then use trigger Sprint, detach from the Melfi of the Forest, and bounce itself back into the extra deck once I enter in battle phase. So this is basically trading with my battle phase. So now I have a Trust Dark Ruler, no? I don't want to play into an unknown back row. So the first thing I want to really do is switch in attack the Ibli and enter in battle phase. Why do I want to do that? I'm gonna do it because I know that he's gonna do the standard combo with double cross. He's gonna use double cross, he's gonna special blue, and after his special blue, it's gonna be chilling 1, chilling 2, put back the Sprint, and that will make my triple tactics Trust live. If I use Dark Ruler now, my Trust is gonna be up very, very late. So switch in attack the Ibli and enter in battle phase. He uses Starter, which is actually insanely good for me. So he uses Starter, special summons Carrot, and from here he's gonna use Sprint effect, detach for Forest to bounce itself back. Very good. Now, I enter in main phase 2, my Dark Ruler now is live. So I solved the issue of the monster line. Now, the second issue is double cross. Is that actually an issue? Might be. And then we got the Ibli that we can just tribute summon for a Bestial. So I'm gonna tribute summon it for Sun. I will use Lubellion to get into a Druise. I'm using it right now because I have Ibli on the board, and if I use Lubellion, I might add a Bestial that can tribute summon over Ibli, and that will make my Brafu live. So what he's trying to do with this Ash is preventing me to out the Ibli without knowing that I already have the out. So by doing this, by doing Lubellion, I force basically my opponent to Ash there. Because that means that if you don't Ash here, that means that you are letting me play. And considering how he played in order to protect the Ibli, like they try always to let you stick with the Ibli, so they just try to interrupt every possible way that could out Ibli, and that's why Ashin Lubellion was fine. Anyways, tribute summon for Saronir. He's using double cross now on Saronir because he's trying to prevent me to get a Lubellion on the board and to activate the trap from my deck. I still keep the trap and I still keep regained. I love both. I do think even the trap is a break. Even if the trap is a break, you really need, in my opinion, in the grind. Or going second in order to interrupt your opponent. So Lubellion is always a trade, no matter what. So he attaches Saronir. So what I want to do now is I want to Magramoth and then I want to use Lubellion. Why do I want to do that? Because this Trust is gonna grab me a Brand Fusion, and as you guys can see, I do not have any Dark in the graveyard to go into Lubellion. So I want to Magramoth now, and then I want to Lubellion, send Magramoth, and then I want to use Lubellion to put the trap face up, and then I want to use Trust for Branded Fusion to go into Branded Fusion. So now I'm trying to pick apart every possible interaction on my, like, every possible thing. I'm trying to pick it apart. And I'm doing everything step by step without giving my opponent unnecessary infos. So Magramoth, try to banish the Leela, special summon Magramoth. He belts my Magramoth. I'm like, okay, now he has no interruptions. Now, how do I clear this entire board in main phase 2? So first of all, we have to calculate that we have to use this Magram to go Lubellion, because we really want to go for the Bestial Lubellion in the graveyard to summon itself. So this is gonna be, no matter how you look at it, it's gonna be an Albion line. Now, if I'm going for an Albion line, that means that I'm sending Cartesia. I'm sending Cartesia, I'm sending Fallen of Albads, and I'm gonna banish the Fallen of Albads and the Magram to make Lubellion. Now Lubellion has to discard the Troll Lock because it's my last card. I can make Lubellion. Lubellion is gonna shuffle back the Fallen of Albads and itself in order to make Jade. So I have Albion Jade on the board. I'm gonna tribute the Albion in order to summon Lubellion, and then Lubellion is gonna activate the trap. Also, there is a Saronir under the Gigantic, so that means that the Saron is gonna send Regained, which will be placed by the trap in. I use Gigantic. I deal with I use Gigantic. I use Mirror Jade. So I have right now. I have Mirror Jade, Lubellion, Bestial Trap, and when I use Mirror Jade, I will deal with the Gigantic Spright, which will send the Saronir, which will send the Regained, and then the trap can activate, can basically activate Regained from the graveyard. Can place Regained from the graveyard. I have no cards in hand. I do not have any cards in hand in order to fusion with Albads, but I have the Cartesia that I'm gonna send with the Brand Fusion to add itself back. So what I have to send with Mirror Jade now, it's pretty much clear. I have to send Titaniclad with Mirror Jade because I can use Mirror Jade, because I can use Fallen of Albads and Ketty to make Rainbow. So Trust, add Brand Fusion, send Fallen of Albads, Cartesia, summon Albion, and then from here, Albion effect is gonna banish the Fallen of Albads, it's gonna banish Magramoth, summon Lubellion, pitch the roll for cost, shuffle back Fallen of Albads and Lubellion to summon Mirror Jade, and then summon back the Lubellion in the graveyard, the Bestial one, sending Albion, and then Bestial Lubellion effect in order to place the Branded Beast. Then I use Mirror Jade effect, send Titaniclad, banish the Gigantic. Actually, is it yeah, it is Gigantic. Saronir effect is gonna send Regained, And then I'm gonna use Branded Beast to pop the carrot. Remember, like, it has to be gigantic because I don't have a way to fuse it away with Fallen Oval, but when I have a way to fuse away the Catty. Then N3sh, Branded Beast is gonna place the regain. I'm gonna use kashtira to add itself back. And then I'm gonna use the effect of Titanic Lad, summon Fallen of Albats effect, fuse with Catty in order to go into Rimbroom, because Rimbroom requires one Beast, or Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast. Then I can use the Albion to set, and with Albion to set, we're gonna set like simply a Retribution, because like if there is a ward in which he can try to crack my board, he will have to pass for a gigantic, and Retribution will just give me follow-up and also will shuffle back my fusions in the graveyard, so there is no ward in which he can win. So main phase 1, use a spot to go into Cerberus effect. I'm gonna just chain Rimbroom, negate, and then I would use also Retribution to negate. Yeah. So this is match number 2, and I lose the dice roll, and my opponent decides to go first. My opponent starts with a Pot of Extravagance. It's 40. It's a 40 card decklist, so I can read a possible Labyrinth decklist, and I have to hash that. Change Shifter. Labyrinth doesn't play Shifter. It might play Shifter. I don't think it would play Shifter. So I'm assuming that we will see some birds flying around. Nibiru is not the worst against Flander if they go for the double Empen line. So now he goes Prosperity, and he banish 6. I say okay. So let's see. Apex, Stray, Evenly, Duality, Glen Duality. He didn't get actually play so far. He might have a combination, he might decide to add Iglen. From what he adds here, I can actually see if he bricked or not. He adds Duality, which is super good for me. That means that he bricked. Also, if you guys are wondering, yes, if you start with Extravagance and I hash it, you can Prosperity, because no card was drawn. Goes Duality. Duality is gonna reveal Robina, Moon, and Monarch, so that means he's gonna add Robina here. I think he was digging for Robina, and they got it, which what he does. So now we go for a standard line, Robina effect. Adds a Stray, that means that he already has the Iglen, and if you already had the Iglen, he revealed the Stray before, that means that he already had combo, because he could have banished my Ash Blossom or his own Shifter. And he just decided to dig for more. I mean, there were a high chance actually to find Rubina, so I don't think it's necessarily incorrect, even though it's greedy. Iglen effect, in fact he got the Iglen, adds Empen, tribute the Empen, Chailing 1 Empen. I think it's, you just do Chailing to Iglen, and then I guess he adds. Anyways, adds Dreaming Town, set Dreaming Town, end phase I go Magnamut. Obviously you special summon it in defense, otherwise Empen you cannot activate Magnamut because of Empen, and Magnamut effect. Here you're gonna add Lubellion. There is a very specific reason of why you add Lubellion here. Now, let's go through the multiple choices that I had. I could add, obviously, Fallen of Albats, but I already have one in hand. I could add the Bestial Aluber, but Bestial Aluber is simply a Thunder level 4 that I can normal summon, and I already have Quen. So basically I already have a Thunder level 4, and I already have Fallen of Albats. So that would lead me to add any other Bestial like a possible Saronir. But why it's not Saronir? because I cannot utilize the Sun on it in any possible way. So, Chaos of Shifter, I'm not able to send any card in the graveyard the next turn, so that means that my Sironir is gonna stick in my hand. But why Lubellion? I cannot use Lubellion effect in hand to search for another Bestial, because I'm under Shifter and sending in the graveyard is cost. But you can still special summon Lubellion from the end. It doesn't specify that the monster has to go in the graveyard, and it's a summoning condition. That means that if I'm able to put, like, if I'm able to stick with this Magnamut on the board, I can later on tribute it for Lubellion, and Lubellion can put the trap on the board, which is gonna deal with one of my possible opponent interaction. Anyways, let's move on. I draw Branded Fusion. That's super good in my opinion. Normal summon Quem, and then he goes Chilling to Dreaming. Chilling to Dreaming Town is sus. But let's assume our opponent does not go for Dreaming Town and I resolve my Quem. If I resolve my Quem, this Quem is gonna banish Mercurier, Mercurier is gonna add possibly Cartesian, or this Quem can banish depending if I'm going for a Dispater line. Chaining these two Quem is sus. Because now I have, like, I can actually, like, I have to decide what I want to do with this Quem. And I still didn't decide yet, and just, like, he's just rushing to stop me. He probably knows what I'm playing, and that's why he's trying to avoid a possible Baron on this pattern. But if I go for this pattern, it's not really an issue for him, because he has a Rubina banish that he can chain block the Eaglen, and then he can add a Monarch that can tribute the Eaglen and the Empen to go for it and chain block it with Eaglen that's banished. So I cannot stop the Monarch with just this pattern. Obviously, like, you don't go Eaglen Chailing 1, Robina Chailing 2, and then you summon Robina, because otherwise my Dispater goes through. So you have to tribute your Empen with Eaglen in order to chain block the Monarch. Anyways. Oh, it out, I was doing it. He was doing it on res, but I didn't. So with this Quem, I'm gonna banish Fallen of Alpats. Why am I gonna banish Fallen of Alpats? I'm gonna banish Fallen of Alpats because here I decided to commit for a Dispater line. It's not amazing to commit for a Dispater line here, but I will do that because I'm safe from OTK, Chaos of Nibiru. And if I go for Dispater, I'll still have Branded Fusion on my next turn. He also tried to rush into this play, so there is a possibility that he just activates Dreaming Town here, which he actually does. Also, there were also another thing I could have done, but I don't think it was that good. Like, I could have just tribute for Lubellion here, and then use the effect of Lubellion to put the trap, and then I would deal with a possible Apex if he's trying to go into that. But doesn't seem amazing. Then I still have Branded Fusion, but Branded Fusion under Shifter is very, very bad. Like, it's only a Lubellion into... it's only a Lubellion into Trecostapelia or a Lubellion into Borrelen. It's like... Borrelot, it's like nothing. Anyways, he goes Eaglen Chailing 1, Robina Chailing 2, adds Robina, adds Raiza. I mean, I think that if you commit it so early, then you kind of have to go for the Monarch, but it feels like an egg to me. Doesn't seem correct. Anyways, normal summon Robina. I think he misclicked on Stray, so he takes that back. Adds Tokkan. Tribute bot for Mega Monarch. He doesn't even try to go for Tokkan to add back the Dreaming Town. There is also another sus play. I'm not really sure how this guy is playing. Anyways, go Mega Monarch, Chailing 2 Eaglen. He targets Quem to end and Magramut and Ash to the top, and Ash at the very top of the deck. Then I go Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion is gonna banish me Albaz and Mercurier. And and I go into Lubellion, Lubellion is gonna pitch the Nibiru and Shelling to Mercurier. Mercurier is gonna add Cartesia for the next turn, Fallen of Albaz and Nibiru to go into Titanic Lad. I do think this was a mistake on my part. I don't think I was supposed to go for Titanic Lad. Even though Titanic Lad is gonna be a 4000 attack because Nibiru level is 11 and Albaz level is 4, so it gains 1500 attack more because the continuous effect of this card says that gains attack equal to the combined original levels of the monster used for its fusion summon, x 100, but per 100, but the issue about going into Titanic Lad, I think it's a slight misplay. Because if you think about it, in terms of fusion monsters, I have only 2 fusion monsters that I can use against the floowadereeze deck, using Fallen of Albaz as a normal summon, and it's Titanic Lad, and the other one is Rainbroom. Because Rainbroom can use a winged beast, and Titanic Lad can use any monster that has 2500 attack or more. So I summon Titanic Lad because I want to run over the Mega Monarch, but if I was going for the Borrel Fusion, I think it was better, because it's still a 3000 bit stick that attacks over the Mega Monarch, and then in main phase 2 I can tribute it for Lubellion in defense and activate the trap from my deck, and then I can tribute the Lubellion in order to pop the Empen. But I still have the Titanic Lad in my extra deck, so the next turn, that means that I can normal summon Albaz and go directly into Titanic Lad, using my opponent Empen, which in my opinion is correct. Like to think about how are you supposed to play out the grind. So I do think this was a slight misplay to summon Titanic Lad. So I attack with it, Titanic Lad, 4000 attack, he loses 1200 life points, and then main phase 2 summon Lubellion, and then I place the trap face up on the board. Use Branded Beast, tribute to the Lubellion, the Lubellion, the Syrian Dragon Fusion monster, in order to pop the Empen, so I can keep a Beast on the board and Beast in order to pop another card on my opponent turn. He answer in battle phase. So right now, what we know in our opponent end is Tokkan Stray, and he has double unknown that's evenly prosperity, and he goes now evenly. He goes evenly. I decide to banish the Lubellion because it's like I want my Branded Beast to stick on the board if it possibly can happen. Like if it can possibly happen, I want that to stick on the board. If it doesn't, that's fine, but you know, at least it's gonna go to the graveyard. And helps a lot in the grind. So he goes Prosperity for 3, and then he adds the Advent. Goes Advent, banish token, and then he's gonna add the map. Goes map, banish Unexplored Winds, Stray effect, chilling 1, chilling 2, Eaglen, and then banish the Advent, chilling 1 Eaglen, chilling 2 token, adds Empen, token adds itself back, normal summon Empen, Empen effect, chilling 2 Rubina, and then adds another Advent, normal summon token, chilling 2 Stray, adds back the Stray, adds back the Dreaming Town, set and pass. Oh, this was played very soft from my opponent, to be honest. Like, I mean, I do think that adding Dreaming Town was fine, but leaving this token on the board, I don't like it. I actually don't like leaving this token on the board. I think it's very bad to leave this token on the board, actually. Now it's my turn. Normal summon Fallen of Albaz. Fallen of Albaz effect. I'm gonna discard the Gwen. I'm not starting with Gwen normal summon, because otherwise my opponent just goes map, normal summon, Rubina or Stray, and then I'm out, because Quem on his own does nothing. When Fallen of Albaz is gonna be, if I summon it, it's gonna be chilling 1 to fuse, and if my opponent uses map, then I can use the monster that he summons from map in order to summon Rainbow. And that's what he does. He summons Stray, and I'm gonna use Stray and Albaz to go into Rimbrum. On resolution, he goes Dreaming Town, normal summon Rubina, chilling to Eaglen, adds another Eaglen, normal summon Eaglen, chilling to Stri. Stri adds itself back, add Apex, and then normal summon Stri targets my Fallen of Albaz because he was scared of me special summoning Cartesia, which, my opinion, it's okay, I guess. Use Magnamut effect, and then I use Beast effect to tribute the Magnamut to pop the map. I don't pop any monster because he just goes Advent and then like doesn't do anything. At least I can deal with one of the maps. Doesn't really matter, to be honest, what I pop. I just wanted to pop something. To be honest, in hindsight, I could also just not pop anything and pass. Anyways, tribute for Apex, and then chilling 1, chilling 2, token and 3. Activate Advent, adds map, activate Duality, adds Dark Ruler no more, and then activates map, normal summon token, banish Robina, token chilling 1, Robina chilling 2, adds back Robina, adds back Empen with the token. Tribute those two in order to go into Empen, Empen chilling 1, token chilling 2. And now he just ends in battle phase. Like, this guy is playing super sus. Like, imagine if you had the Unexplored in the deck instead of banishing it. Attacks directly, I take the entire damage. Like, as soon as, like, if I'm not dead, I'm good. Anyways, end phase, use Saronir. I mean, I use it in end phase. I don't do it in main phase because I'm actually scared that he might go for S3 because I don't want him to banish my Rimbroom. There is a reason why I don't want him to banish my Rimbroom. We're gonna go over it later. Special summon Saronir, normal summon Cartesia. I know that he's out of tribute summon, so it's like, doesn't matter if I normal summon, like this map is doing nothing. So what he wants to try to do is use Apex and then later use map. There is also another reason of why I used Saronir in end phase, because if he negates with Apex Avian, I can use Saronir to send the Bestial Aluber, and remember, the Bestial Aluber is considered the Fallen of Albaz. So I can use also Rimbroom to reborn the Bestial Aluber, and then in my turn I can special summon Cartesia and I can go Albion into Borrel. So that was my follow-up line if it was being negating the Saronir with Apex Avian. So no matter what he would do here, I would lead the position. It would have been actually better for me if he was negating the Saronir. Now the fact that I have to play with a Synchro 10, even though seems good, it's not very good in the grind. You actually want to access your fusion play for the grind. So, use those two to make this pattern. Now the Apex Avian is turned off. Saronir effect, we're gonna send the Bestial Aluber. No, actually I send Lubellion. Oh no, I send Lubellion because I wanna go this pattern reborn the Titanic Lad. Yes. So I send Lubellion here because I don't have any good monster to summon with this pattern. I cannot go into Albaz because I have nothing to fusion with, and the only good one is Titanic Lad, and also by sending in the graveyard Titanic Lad I also get access to my Cartesia, and also I can get in end phase into Quem, and then Quem can send the Bestial Aluber. Oh yeah, or the Fallen of Albaz itself. So summon back Titanic Lad, summon Lubellion, tributing Titanic Lad, use Lubellion effect, I also get regained. So he cannot actually play with the normal summon anymore. He uses Apex Avian to negate, I use this pattern to negate. Then I use Titanic Lad in end phase, special summon Quem, and Quem sends the Bestial Aluper. That was the line. So I get access to everything if I do that. So now, I did also that because it's very simple. Like, if I don't end on 2 monsters on the board, he can just enter in battle phase and attack for game. And I lose on the spot. I need to force him to normal summon in a way, and also if he had any other way to clean one of my bodies, I still had Ring Broom to special summon itself or the Bestial Aluper, depending on the situation. He admits defeat here because he has no tribute summon anymore in the deck, and in this position he's locked. He has to normal summon to play. He has no extra deck, so there is actually the normal summon does nothing. All he can do is just attack. But if he attacks in end phase, I can use Ring Broom in order to special summon back the Bestial Aluber. And then in my turn, I can special summon Cartesia. And then with Cartesia and the Bestial Aluber, I can go into Albion. And Albion can start going into Mirror Jade. And Mirror Jade is gonna basically... it's gonna basically outgrind him no matter what he does. The position was locked in my favor. No matter what he was doing, he was losing there. I think we came out to that position because he did several misplays. So game 2, Shifter again, Robina normal summon, adds token, so Shifter every game, it's fine, bro, it's fine. Robina summons Iglen effect. This also turns off my troll, which is kinda sad, but whatever. Summons Empen, chilling 1, chilling 2 Iglen, adds back the Iglen, adds Advenge. Summons Stray, target Shifter, I use Saronir. He's doing that to avoid me to go into a Bestial. I have to do that because otherwise my Bestial would be dead anyways. Adds map with Advent. Activates Advent, banish, Empen, goes token, adds back Empen. Tribute those 2 for Empen, chilling 1, chilling 2 Stray, chilling 3 Robina. Adds Dreaming Town, set Dreaming Town and pass. Main phase 1, normal summon the Bestial Aluper. Now, here is the thing. I kinda have to hope he doesn't interrupt me in here, to be honest. I don't have a lot. There is a thing, like, if he says okay, then I'm kinda tempted to special Cartesia, but if he says okay, I'm probably not gonna do that. Because if I commit Cartesia, then I actually give him a reason to use the trap. And I kinda don't want to happen. So good, I go into this pattern. Now, this pattern can summon back Saronir, or can summon back the Bestial Aluber. Bestial Aluber with Cartesia in this position doesn't accomplish anything. So what I'm gonna do is just special summon Saronir and try to push with the Lubellion, but doesn't seem to do a lot. Lubellion effect is gonna place the Beast effect in order to pop an Empen and pass. He ends in battle phase. He kinda has to do that. I mean, does he have to do that? Not really. But he doesn't want me to pop with the Branded Beast. So that's why he entered in battle phase. I let him enter in battle phase because I want him to trade the battle phase to out my Dispatter. And I can only use Branded Beast during the main phase. Go Stray, chilling 1, chilling 2, banish the Dispatter. And I'm like, here I'm very down bad. There is actually nothing I can do. He played also around the troll, so it's like useless for me to use this troll. And once you use that, I'm out. I decide to scoop. I was just hoping he would not go for Explore, then use the troll in my turn in order to stop the normal summon, and OP doesn't get in rotation. Like, he had to misplay hella. Like, he had to misplay big times for me to having a chance to win that game. So that's why I decided to not use the troll. Because that was literally the only option I had to win. I go first. My hand is good. Never mind, we got shifter 3 times in a row. So we go Magnamut effect, and normal summon Cartesia and Magnamut into this pattern. Summons back Magnamut, go into Lubellion from the end, and then Lubellion effect plays the trap. I still have 2 interruption through shifter. It's not even that bad. And I still add with Magnamut. This time I decide to add Saronir, because now I'm going first. That means that on turn 3, my Saronir will be live, and Saronir can send the Bestialuber, and the Bestialuber is Fallen of Albats in the graveyard, which means that by branding white is gonna be an interruption, or it's gonna be a counterplay. So, my opponent turn starts with Prosperity, and with Prosperity, he grabs Evil Image. It's pretty much clear to me that I will have to leave this pattern on the board. Yeah, main phase 2, he goes Duality, adds Terraforming, and let's check this out. Yes, Terraforming, Map, Ropina. It does not have a way to play around my this pattern. No, Chilling 1, Chilling 2, Eaglen, Stray. The Stray is dead. Token would also be dead. It's like nothing. He goes Eaglen, I negate with this pattern, and the game is over. Special summons Magramut effect, go Branded Fusion, and the game is over, because if he tries to Ash, I just negate with this pattern, and the game is over anyways. Well, that's about the match number 2. Let's move on though. Match number 3. But let's stop the video for a second, because I just got hit with an insane news. Sleeve Chief is finally coming to US and will bring lower shipping costs, faster delivery times, and a restock, and new amazing products. And they're gonna put so much work that they wanna celebrate it with the new announcement of the big new PAX Sleeve Chief Elite collection. So check it out, and for the end of this month, the 30th of this month, you're gonna have GO15 as discount code for 15% discount on all Sleeve Chief products. Check it out and don't miss this amazing opportunity. Sleeve Chief to USA, baby. This time I won the dice roll, so I go first. My hand is broken. My hand is genuinely broken. Start with Quem. Quem should send Fallen of Albads, because I want to special summon Cartesia, but for some reason I special summon Magramut, so that was a misplay. I kinda overthink it over it. I can recover it, but it's gonna be worse, because I really don't want to use Foolish to send another Fallen of Albads, so I kinda accept this misplay. My line would be so much better. I could special summon Cartesia, then special summon Magramut. Use Cartesia and Magramut to go into this pattern, and then I could use Quem effect to summon back Cartesia. My line would be actually so much better. But cause I missed the shot, and I really don't want to use Foolish to send another Fallen of Albads, I can't accept it. Use Magramut, then I use Foolish, send Saronir, and Saronir is gonna send Lubellion. I will miss the Baron on top, which is kinda sad, I guess. So use this pattern, special summon back Fallen of Albads, special summon Cartesia, use Cartesia and Fallen of Albads to go into Albion. And Albion effect, is gonna use Fallen of Albats and Saronir to summon the Titanic Lad. This is the standard line that I always go into, because it gives me so much plus. So many pluses, actually. So tribute the Albion for Lubellion, and then I use Lubellion effect. Place the Regained, and then I turn those into Hieratic Seal. End phase, Albion effect, set Branded in red. We set Branded in red because we have a way to play around evenly, because we can add Fallen of Albats with Titanic Lad. Use Titanic Lad, add Fallen of Albats, and then use Cartesia, add itself back. And then I can add with Magnamut, I'm gonna add the Saronir. So here I have a way to play around evenly as well. My endbot would be so much better if I was special summoning this Cartesia before. But I know. I mean, I guess we just have to accept that that this was played horribly and move on from here. Anyways, it's my opponent turn. He starts with normal summon Aluber. I'm fine. Chilling one Aluber. I do not trigger the Regained here to summon Magnamut, because I'm very scared of my opponent having a way to clear my Dispater. And that's usually what I do. I just wait a little bit before triggering this Regained, because if my opponent doesn't break my board, I win. If my opponent breaks my board, then Regain gets better value, in my opinion. Plays better also into board breakers. And if we look at our opponent end, because like I didn't actually miss this, I actually decided to not use it. And if we look at our opponent end, he has a super polymerization actually. So that was kind of insane. So here's the thing. Let's assume that I was just being greedy and summoning the Magnamut. Then my opponent could super poly for the Boreal Fusion if he plays it. Like, I think everyone should play it in their branded decklist. And then I could not be able to summon the Dispater anymore. I do think keeping Regained, just in case our opponent can clear the Dispater, is probably the best thing to do. Anyways, let's proceed. I guess with the end revealed. Uses Branded Fusion. I really don't care about this Branded Fusion. He's gonna send Lubellion and Fallen of Albats. Then he goes Albion. Now here, I could use the Saronir, but he went for Albion, knowing that I have a Bestial, because I added the Bestial of Magnamut. So I'm like, does he have an Albats in hand and he's trying to bait this Saronir? So I just don't do it. So I say, okay. Also, he added Ice Spirits, so he could also add the Fallen of Albats in hand, now that I think about it. So yes, that's why I didn't do it. Like, you add Ice Spirits here, you go Albion, I chain Saronir, you chain Ice Spirit, or you can... I don't think you chain Mercurial, I think you chain Ice Spirit, and then you add, like, you send, like, the Quem, and you add Fallen of Albats, and you still banish the Fallen of Albats. Or you can negate with the Mercurial, actually. That gets actually huge pluses if you negate this with the Mercurial. That's a huge plus, actually. Yeah. Anyways, I read the fact that he could add the Fallen of Albats, so he had one already in hand, so that's why I didn't do it. Because if he had another Fallen of Albats, he could just discard it with Ice Spirits and get value. Banish the Jester, Aluber, and Fallen of Albats summons Lubellion. I'm fine here. Use Lubellion, Chainlink 1. I think using this battery here as a Chainlink 2 is super good. So I'm gonna do it. Put back the Aluber. He chains Mercurial. I'm fine. I'm still fine. Like, yeah, let him summon the Mirror Jade. Now what? Now what? On Mirror Jade summon, I'm gonna use Hieratic Seal to force the Mirror Jade. Use Mirror Jade to banish. I say, okay. Banish my Dispater, chilling 1, sphere chilling 2, regain to put back the dispater. As you can see, I didn't summon back from regained yet. Summon Fallen of Albads, use Fallen of Albads, pitch the Cartesia because I'm gonna try to get this Cartesia anyways back in hand later on. So it's like I don't want to reveal my opponent info that I have Nibiru in my hand, because if I pitch Nibiru, it's kind of like saying, yo, I have another Nibiru in my hand. He says wait, change Super Poly, Albion and Fallen of Albas to go into the Furious. On the summon of Furious, now I use Regained to try to summon back the Magnamut. It chains Boral Fusion to pop my Regain. I'm like, fine, like this is probably the best trade ever. And then he enters in battle phase. I'm like, main phase 1, I think here. He has nothing. He has actually no way to crack through my board. And I still have Branded in red. I'm definitely gonna Nibiru him. Use Nibiru. And also because, like, Nibiru with Fallen of Albads make Albion, and with Albion I can make my own Borrel. Or I can also use the Fallen of Albads in my hand and make Jade. It's like, I get infinity options here. End phase, he tries to go end phase, I go Saronir because I don't want him to be able to use the Albion. Banish, end phase, he scoops. He had nothing, and the next one I had game. Next game, my opponent tour starts with Fusion Deployment. I say okay, obviously. It reveals a Fallen of Albads target, so special summon Fallen of Albads, special summon Cartesia, fine. Normal summon Aluber, I have to let that go. He adds Branded in White, that was very good from him. He goes Grangugnol and send Garura. I hate this, but he's playing Super Poly, so it makes sense for him playing Garura. He goes Lost and then Branded Fusion. I do not understand why people play like this. Like, was it that hard to go Branded White, summon Mirror Jade, use Branded Lost, add Mercurier, and then use Branded Fusion and be protected by Ash? Like, was it actually that hard to play around Ash Blossom? It was not. You just choose to not play around it. And that's why people think that Branded suck. People have a misconception about Branded. Branded does not lose to Ash Blossom. It does not. Like 80% of the time, you can play around Ash Blossom easily. So you would say N3sh, but so why are you playing the Synchro version? Because the Synchro version is better into flute gates. The issue about the deck is not Ash Blossom. I think the issue is Anti-Spell, Barrier, Eradicator Virus. Those are the issues of the deck. I don't think Ash the Blossom is even close to be the issue of the deck. Anyways, misplays here. Ash Blossom. He had Branded White, but it's okay. Let's move on. White, and now he decides to go there. Fine. Mirror Jade, and then Branded Lost. Adds Mercurial. Like, you see, like... Oh. Anyways. End phase. Cartesia adds back. That's it. That's it. Whatever, man. Anyways, we start with Lubellion. Simply enough. He goes Mercurial to negate my Lubellion. I think it's fair. I go Impermanence on Mirror Jade. Now, the thing is, as soon as I commit, he's gonna use Mirror Jade to send a Rimbroom. And then Rimbroom to banish itself to summon Fallen of Albads. Fallen of Albads discard in order to fusion. And remove a body on my board. But that is something that I have to take in account. I use Regained. I go Saronir. And I target his Fallen of Albads. Here I doubt. No, I think it was correct to go into that, actually. Like, you go Saronir, target Fallen of Albads. If your opponent is stupid, he's gonna use Mirror Jade. send Rimbroom and chain Rimbroom to avoid your Saronir to be summoned. And then you can get a draw off regained because the Rimbroom is banished. And after that, I mean, you kind of have to top deck here. It's a top deck situation. But in my opinion, I don't think you do Mirror Jade. I do think you do Mirror Jade. You probably don't, actually. I don't think you do Mirror Jade yet. I think you let me special summon the Saronir, and then you use Grangugnol, summon Quem, and Quem send another Fallen of Albaz. I do think that is the play, actually. And that's it. And you keep the Mirror Jade because you still don't know what are you gonna send, to be honest. Might be Rimbroom, most likely, but it doesn't have to be Rimbroom. Like, you wanna have the choice. Anyways, he sends Rimbroom for some odd reason. Summon Saronir, so banish the Fallen of Albaz, chilling 1 regained, he goes chilling to Grangugnol. Summon Squam, put back Fallen of Albaz, and then I draw into Magramot. That was hella lucky. He sends Fallen of Albaz. Then he goes, then for some reason, he decides to go Rimbroom. Like, he's rushing. Actually, for no reason. I did have a play. I did actually have a play, and I would have forced it. Anyways, but it was literally not needed to do it now. Because my play was normal Tragedy, and then crash Saronir into Mirror Jade, 500, send Retribution, send Branded Fusion, and then crash the Tragedy. That was my play. And if they went for Fallen of Albaz, I guess he would have went there for Rimbroom, and then I would have used the Magramut. But that's a thing that you have to do later. I think you wait for me to put a threat on the board, and then you do it. Because I think he would have actually won this if he actually was doing this. Let me explain you why. Because if he doesn't do anything here, my next play has to be normal summon Tragedy. Then I enter in battle phase, I crash Saronir, I send Brand Fusion, and then I try to crash Saronir to send Brand Fusion, and then he goes into Rimbroom, and I have to chain Magramut there. So here I have also to do a read, actually, which is like I have to do the read of my opponent having a Bestial. That's important, because what happens is he goes for Albaz, I go Magramut effect. I crashed my Saronir, I still send Brand Fusion. But now here's the thing. If I crash my Tragedy, it's gonna Bestial Saronir or Resolution, and it's gonna banish my Tragedy. And my Tragedy adds nothing, because I already normal summoned the Tragedy. So that means I can add the Quem, but the Quem does nothing. So I do think it would have actually won if I was not reading his Bestial, which I would not in this specific spot, because I have notes about even having a pot and it playing branded, and I'm like, I'm probably not gonna play around it. He goes there, he chains Bestial Saronir, so to avoid the Magramut, he decides to chain Bestial Saronir. That is fine. But still, I didn't normal summon yet, and you used already all of your interruptions. It's like you have nothing now. Summon Lubellion, send Saronir. Saronir effect sends Brand Fusion. Use Lubellion effect. Beast. Normal summon Tragedy. Tragedy attack the Saronir. Crash. Take damage. Lubellion attacks over Quem. And then Branded Beast. I mean, I guess now Tragedy. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna do it later. I'm gonna do Beast later. Albion. Banish Bot. Go Lubellion. Use those two. Go Mirror Jade. Branded Beast. Yes, and like that was actually important. Send the Albion, because I already attributed a monster for Lubellion. That was the reason. And then I sent Titanic Lad. banish the Saronir. Why am I banishing the Saronir? Because his Mirror Jade now has no value. Like, it's not, even though I negated it and he can use it later, it does not have an immediate follow-up. I have to deal with the Saronir, because if he finds a way to put it in the graveyard, then he's gonna send a Retribution, and Retribution is gonna add back the Brand Fusion. So what I'm trying to do here in this position is getting his follow-up from Branded Fusion. So he has to hard draw into a Branded Fusion. But if he hard draws into a Branded Fusion, I am still fine. So I don't want not him to have one Branded Fusion, I don't want him to have double Branded Fusion. The reason is because I'm gonna set Retribution of Albion. So if he has a Branded Fusion, I win on the spot, because I just shuffle back Albion and Titanic Lad, negate his Branded Fusion, I'm fine. His Mirror Jade does nothing. And also, since I don't play opening, I have to put my Mirror Jade in defense in the mirror. Because if my opponent crashes on Mirror Jade, he clears my board for free. Anyways, Titanic Lad adds Quem. And then Cartesian adds itself back. And then he throws into Aluber. Normal summon Aluber. Aluber adds Branded Fusion. I'm like, sure. Attacks with Mirror Jade, my Mirror Jade. I use Mirror Jade effect, fine. He used his own Mirror Jade effect because I negated it before with impermanent, so it resets. And then I use Regained on my Lubellion. Again, I'm not using Regained to summon yet. I like to do it very late. Also because if I have a play, I'm still winning. So he attacks with Aluber, fine. Branded Fusion, Retribution. I keep the Mirror Jade in the graveyard so I can reborn it with Quem using Cartesian. Because I can Quem summon, send Shrouded Dragon, special summon Cartesian, Cartesian effect, fuse with Fallen of Albats into an Albion, chilling one Albion, chilling to Quem, summon back Mirror Jade. And I ask him, can you play? And he just say no, and he left. That's it about the match number 3. Again, I do like to trigger my regain very late in the game. I don't think it is correct to trigger it as soon as possible if you have no reason. I like to give a reason to at least 90% of my plays, which sometimes might lead into a misplay. But if I don't have a reason to do something, I just don't do it. That's about it. I hope this was interesting for you or insightful. I know that my opponent misplay. I also didn't play the best, to be honest, but I think it's good to show up also those kind of games in which both of the players don't play optimally. And that's about it. So, match number 4. Again, I do lose the dice roll. I go second. So this is my hand. My hand is not like horrible. Could be better. No interruption though. So it's like weird. He just passes. I'm like, all right. My opponent just passes. He's on 41. He's on 41. So let's start doing some readings. So first of all, what I'm expecting if my opponent is on 41. Let's see main phase 1. If something happens. No. Before going main phase 1, my opponent goes shifter. Okay, so that means if my opponent goes shifter on 41, I don't think it's birds, I don't think it's cash. 41 is very odd. Birds usually try to stay on 40. But, I mean, could be both, because 41 doesn't really change the math of a deck. And I said that multiple times. But I have to do a read and how I want to play this out. So here is the thing. If my opponent breaks, there are actually 2 ways to play this hand. Because it's like, if I normal summon Quem, and I use Quem effect, and I banish Mercury, and with Mercurier I grab something like a Fallen of Alpats or a Cartesia, and then I special summon Saron, and I attack, and then I go in main phase 2 into Baron de Fleur. I think I should be fine. But again, it braked. So that means he might have board breakers or he might have N3sh. And I have to do my read now. Does he play board breakers or does he play N3sh? And I have Baron up. Because Baron is safe, like super safe. If I summon Baron and he does not play board breakers, I win on the spot. But if he does play board breakers, then my Baron is useless and I'm gonna be stuck with double Planet Fusion in my hand. So, in my opinion here, I think I should read board breakers. So, main phase 1, normal summon Quem. He says okay. Quem banish Mercurier, and then Mercurier is gonna add Cartesia. I have double Planet Fusion. I think I have to use one. Because let's say my opponent has Ash too, okay? Let's say my opponent has Ash for this Planet Fusion. Then I have to open that my opponent has not a play for the next turn. When if I had a Baron, depends still on my opponent hand. So I go Planet Fusion here. Because I do think it is actually correct, especially if you have double. Let's say your opponent doesn't kill you, then you have still your engine, plus another Planet Fusion, but your opponent does not have Ash anymore in hand. So, in this case, I go Planet Fusion and he goes Ash Boss. Well, I guess I do still think my read was correct. I do still think that I wouldn't change the way I play this hand anyways. But yeah, I got punished because I didn't go for Baron de Fleur. So this was my opponent hand. I attack directly with Quem. I don't summon Saron. It's not game anyways. I cannot synchro summon because I'm still locked from Brand Fusion and I pass. Use Foolish Burial actually, just to grab another play. I guess that's fine. Just another Quem. Yeah, because Quem next turn can send Fallen Albads, Special Cartesia. I do have actually some very nice play next turn if I survive. Could I set something? I don't think would change anything. Any top decks actually the card that I would have stopped with Baron. Because like if you start with Planet, I just Baron that and what's next play? Like Birth, normal summon, Scarecrow. He would have still Ash in hand, so let's think about it. Actually, let's think about this, because he would still have Ash in hand. But he cannot normal summon Scarecrow and then normal summon Ash, so that would be... So what he would do... funny enough, if I had Baron up, he cannot do anything actually, because if he crashes the Scarecrow into my Baron, Scarecrow is a continuous effect, so my Baron is not negated anymore. I would have won if I made Baron. Well, happens. He goes Field Spell, add Fenrir effects, adds Risard, Birth, Special Summon Risard, Banish Ogre effect, adds Big Bang, attacks. That was something else. Use a Fenrir. Sure. Tax. I think he miscalculated. He knows that I have Cartesia, so he's just giving me another Cartesia. Oh, doesn't matter if he miscalculated. He goes Red Ice Flare, Metal Dragon. And I cannot play any card, I think. Could I summon Saronir before? Does this change anything? Probably no. I don't think it will change anything. Yes, actually Forbidden Lands. So if I attack, like if I manage to summon a body bigger than black metal, then it just lands me. Actually, also, if I summon Saron here, maybe he just goes for, like, he can also just go Shangri-La. Then he goes Scarecrow Cash, banish the trap, Shangri-La, detach, summon the material, and he still gets into Metal Dragon and during this time if Shangri-La summons, and then field spell pop, and I cannot use Sarnir anyways. It's like I have no place. Anyways, I try to think, but there is nothing to think. So we move to the game 2. Now, game 2, I'm gonna... it's gonna be a quiz, okay, for you guys, because in game 2, I did... I remember this game, and in this game 2, I did an horrible read. Anyways, let's start this out. Main phase 1, he says, okay, so I start with Lubellion. Lubellion adds Magramut, normal summon Quem. Impermanence to Quem, that doesn't do anything. I go Shrouded Dragons and Fallen of Albads. Put this back, I throw into Foolish, that was broken. Foolish send Mercurier, banish Mercurier with Saronir. Mercurier effect is gonna add Cartesia, special summon Cartesia. Use those two to make Baron de Fleur, and then I can use Quem, Chelling 1, Saronir, Chelling 2. I did not do that. I mean, I can do it later. So use Magnamo and Quem to go into this pattern. There is a reason why I didn't do that? No, there is no reason. I just missed it. Go this pattern summon back Cartesia, Cartesia effect with Fallen of Albads. Go into Albion. Albion banish to summon Titaniclad. Summon Lubellion put Beast, those two to go into Hieratic Seal, and then in end phase, Albion to set red. I still have the full board. I could have had like a Cartesia on the board, or a Quem on the board. Slightly better though. Cartesia add itself back in hand, Beast put regained on the board, and Titaniclad add another Quem in hand. Magramut is gonna add Druids, and that's about it. My opponent leads with a Dark Ruler. I don't really care about this Dark Ruler. I can still use Beast, attribute this pattern, and summon it later with Regained. I have still summon Fallen of Albads, and Fallen of Albads deal with one of the bodies. And then he goes Lightning Storm. Okay. I see you. Here I'm playing against Cash, so like the play is very straightforward. We go just for the Incandescent Dragon. Red, target Fallen of Albads, and Quem to go into Albion Scientific Dragon. I keep the Cartesia because might be a potential special summon later on. And also it's a body that recycles itself from the graveyard, and I kinda like that. So we use Albion the Sanctifier Dragon, we give him the Albion, and I take the Magramut, and I can use the effect of Magramut. And I goes Terraforming, add Brightsauce. I don't care about this Brightsauce. Adds Unicorn. And then Birth. I think on Birth, but I let that go at the end. And then here, after I do this, I use Hieratic Seal, Tribute for cost, use Hieratic Seal in the graveyard, Chelling 1, and then he goes Unicorn. Hieratic Seal Chelling 1 to summon because it's mandatory, Unicorn Chelling 2, and he banish my Mirror Jade. Summon Fallen of Albads, use Fallen of Albads and Albion to make the Borrel. I cannot go Dracostapelia because it would just enter in battle phase, and makes no sense. He adds Kashtira Theosis. I special summon Druids for no reason, actually. There is actually no reason. I maybe just wanted a body, one more body on the board. I was scared that he would get maybe another, like a Ferry in a way. Is there any warning which can get Ferry? He ends in battle phase. Oh. Unicorn is 28 attack. If you do the math, it's gonna be 28. And he's attacking my Borrel Fusion. I didn't see Lance in the game 1. You guys saw it because we are watching the replay. But I don't know about Lance. And also, why would he keep Lance going second against me? I feel like you would not keep Lance. No, what's the punish? The punish is if I use Borrel on Unicorn and he has Fenrir, it doesn't do anything, right? And also, what happens is if I use Borrel on Unicorn, he can just reborn with Bird. So using Borrel here, I do think it's incorrect. Because if I use it, it doesn't do anything on Unicorn. Let's say I read the Lance, I'm insane. I use it on Unicorn, main phase to Bird, reborn Unicorn. Wow, you did a lot. I did nothing. Like, the only way to get value of this Borrel, if I really wanted to, would have been pop the Bird. But then, if I do that, I just clear a Bird, basically. I clear a Bird, I clear one Reborn, but he still has kashtira to summon Fenrir. And also, I still don't know the last card in his hand. I can assume it is Lance, but I cannot read like 100% that it's Lance, because why would he keep Lance going second against me? Like, I actually don't see the the value of Lance, but it seems like a bad card to keep. Anyways, I say okay, because this Borrel is not getting any value, and he would only get value if I pop Bird. So I'm not gonna do that. Damage step, Forbidden Lance. I don't lose any damage, I'm under Dark Ruler, I forgot that. He goes Cateosis. Use Fenrir, add Risart. He goes Risart. Banish 3. He does not use He does not use Bright Sauce to pop for some reason. Use Shangri-La? Yes, he does, but he does not use Bright Sauce to pop. That was a very big misplay. Then he goes Risart, take the Baron de Fleur. And phase Albion and White. So, chat, if you were paying fully attention, I did a horrible misplay this turn. A misplay that literally costed me this game. I would have won at 100% if I was not doing this misplay. I'll give you 10 seconds, and then you guys can tell me what was the misplay. 10, 9, 8. Remember, actually, before we go over it, remember just to type in the comments what was the misplay. Don't cheat though, please. Like, actually test your own skills. Because this misplay actually costed me the game. And if I don't think I played cleanly. Like, if I was... I realized it literally right after. But I was like, you know what, I did that. So I think I'm gonna pay for it. But those kind of misplays will cost you games for no reason. And this happened to me now. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the misplay was that even though I'm under Dark Ruler, if my opponent uses Big Eye on my Baron de Fleur, I should chain Baron de Fleur. Even though I'm under Dark Ruler, Baron de Fleur can only be used once while it's face up on the board. And this condition would still apply. So my opponent would get a Baron de Fleur that does not have the ability to negate. If I was chaining Baron de Fleur, this monster would have been just a 3k body. And branded in white would have been basically chaos. And also there is another thing. I still have to add with Magnamut. And if my opponent uses a Rise Art on my Dispatter, I can just add Fallen of Albat and fuse it with kashtira Rise Art. And have to be game. Anyways, this is what happened. Use a Rise Art on my Dispatter. I have to add with Magnamut. I have to put this back. And here I took actually a long time to think. I have to add the Bestial Aluber because I have the last Albats in my graveyard and the other two are banished. And I kinda need it for my Branded in White. But I didn't add it in my end because Baron was live. So I would go normal Albats, use the effect, if Baron negates. The Albats gets banished and then my white is dead. It's not really dead because I can still fusion the Bestials into the Borrel Fusion, but actually it is dead because Borrel Fusion is in my graveyard. So it's like super tough in this position. And if I was chaining Baron, he could not out my Dispatter. He had to do it actually, which would be banish, out Dispatter, add Fallen of Albats in my hand in end phase, and summon Fallen of Albats, and a Rise Art. Would go into Lubellion, and from here the game would be over. But I was stupid and I didn't do that. So, anyways, draw for turn, normal Bestial Aluber, special Cartesia. Use those two in order to go into Stapelia. Chilling 1, chilling 2, he chains Baron de Fleur, I chain Cartesia. Use the Bestial Aluber and Draco Stapelia to go into the Lubellion, the Syrian Dragon. Go Lubellion effect, those two, in order to go into Rimbrum. I have to use a Rimbrum effect now in order to bounce it back into the extra deck. I have to bounce, I think, the Rise Art. He chains a Rise Art because he gained the third material. He banished my Druids, and I cannot do a lot here. That's my end board, basically. I have no Synchro 10 to make. And from here, the game is basically over. Unicorn, Ferrir, add Rise Art, Unicorn effect, add kashtira Theosis. I use Cartesia and Lubellion to make Grangugnol. It's gonna be Chilling 1 Ferrir, Chilling 2 Unicorn, Chilling 3 Grangugnol. Here, like, I think we mixed the chain links. I'm not supposed to use this Sanctifier because my Grangugnol is Chilling 3. I can just negate it with Rimbrum. So we will rewind this. We will rewind this scenario. It's gonna be Chilling 3 Grangugnol, Chilling 3 Rimbrum, bounce back the Baron de Fleur, and then he punishes it with Unicorn, and then Ferrir is gonna banish my Rimbrum. Theosis, summon Ferrir, use those three to make again Rise Art. Attacks over Sanctifier. Now I use Sanctifier. I take 2 bodies. I give him Albion. But from here, the game is basically over. He deals with my Grangugnol. He attaches a material, special Rise Art effect, banish bird, banish top 3. Attach with Rise Art, in end phase, I use Cartesia to add back, normal summon Cartesia, he banishes Cartesia, and the game is over. So, cause of the misplay, I actually lost the game for no reason. And yeah, this happens to the best of us. And this, like, those are basically also reminds for me to be more technical. That's about it. And see you next time. Um, 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 um,